Philosopher Gucci Mane once famously proclaimed, "If a man has no sauce, then he's lost. But that same man can get lost in the sauce." Now, upon further analysis of this quote, it's pretty clear that Mane was under some sort of mind-altering drug when he said this. But without even realizing it, he might have just given us a metaphor for life in general. You see, sauce is something that, in a literal sense, enhances things, what we eat. But at the same time, there's good sauce and there's bad sauce and there's sauce that's in between. So in a very similar way, sauce is something that enhances or influences someone's life. So we'll be looking at sauce through three main lenses of analyses. First, there's good sauce or good influence on one's life. Next, there's sauce that's just okay. And finally, there's sauce that's just bad and will lead to someone's failure in life. First, let's talk about how sauce can be good. And we'll look at this through the example of Heel Pete in the novel The Power of One by Bryce Courtenay. In this novel, PK is a boy, the protagonist of the novel, who grows up in an oppressive society in South Africa. First of all, PK is bullied because of his small physical stature, as well as his race and his background, because he's English, and at the time South Africans were controlled by the English, who were very oppressive on them. So although PK was born in South Africa, and the only connection he had to England was his lineage, he was still bullied for it. Now, at first, PK was discouraged by all this bullying that he had, especially because his goal in life is to become the welterweight champion of the world in boxing. However, he then meets a man named Heel Pete, a fellow Englishman, who is also racially discriminated, but happens to be the boxing coach of the house where PK is living in. Pete tells him to let go of all the things that people tell him, and to not think about those insults. Instead, he tells PK to focus on boxing. In this way, Pete is the sauce in PK's life. He propels PK to greater things, and eventually at the end of the novel, after listening to Heel Pete's advice, PK fights every fight as if it's his last, and that leads to his ultimate success in life, becoming the welterweight champion in the world, after using Heel Pete, his sauce, as a propellant for that success. Now, let's look at another way we can see sauce. Sometimes sauce is just okay. It's not too good, but it's not too great. And the example of this is through Russell Westbrook on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, Westbrook is one of the most proliferating players in the entire NBA. Just last year, he won Most Valuable Player. However, from a period of 2008 to 2016, he was teammates with another prolific player, Kevin Durant. Now, this duo achieved a lot of success, making the NBA Finals in 2012 and the Western Conference Finals an additional 3 times. That seems like a lot of success considering that Durant himself also won League MVP in 2014. However, there's one thing that these two couldn't achieve: an NBA championship. So although they were a great duo and Russell Westbrook was pretty good sauce to Kevin Durant, there was something that was missing. He was just okay. And this was apparent in 2016 when Durant completely deserted Westbrook and went to the Golden State Warriors. Now, from that, it's clear that Durant didn't think that Westbrook was great sauce. Although Westbrook was a great player, he did some things that Durant didn't like. He kept the ball too much, he took clutch shots when Durant thought he was the one that they would take them, and because of that, he joined a team that worked with a more team basis, the Golden State Warriors. So by doing that, Durant showed that Westbrook wasn't everything that he wanted to be. So Westbrook was good in some ways because the two enjoyed some success together, but in other ways, he was pretty bad because they couldn't win a championship together. So ultimately, Westbrook himself was just okay. Now, for the bad news, let's look at how sauce can be bad. And we'll look at this through the example of the play Death of a Salesman. In this play, the main protagonist is Willie Loman. And as you can guess from the title, he dies at the end. So Willie Loman is the bad sauce in the lives of his sons Happy and Biff. Willie Loman, that middle-class salesman, wants to just become something more in life. He wants to become one of the best. However, the way that he tries to go about this is completely flawed. He thinks that the two keys to success are lying and being well-liked, or popularity. And he teaches this to his son throughout their childhoods, so then they develop and exhibit these traits themselves later on in their lives. And by doing this, Willie Loman is the bad sauce in their lives, because he leads to not only their own failures, but his own failure. And at the end of the novel, he dies because of deep depression that he falls in after he himself can't do anything in life, but his sons are also set up for failure. So Willie Loman is bad sauce. But let's look at what we learned today. Sauce comes in many different varieties. And again, as Gucci Mane stated, someone without sauce is lost, but if you have too much of something, especially if it's bad sauce, you're lost as well. Because if you have good sauce, such as Heel Pete and PK, that propels you to greater success. Okay sauce is good in some ways, but it's just missing something, like Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. And finally, bad sauce will lead to failure, as we saw from Willie Loman and his sons. So if there's one thing you want to take away from this speech, next time you see some spaghetti or anything with sauce, just remember that it's something that can enhance your life, but if it's bad, it's only going to make things worse. Thank you.